the meeting to order at 6:30 p.m. And we'll have roll call.
Absolutely. Vanessa Apotheker. Michelle Coetzee.
Here.
Alex Palazzo.
Present.
Edan Eckstein. Sean Fee.
Here.
Ronald Goff.
Here.
Colette Keno. Here. Marta Rexo. Here. Solomon Schoonover. Zilla Charco. Here. Anna Bretsinas. Here. And Chair Oglesby.
Here.
Do you have a forum, Sam?
Okay, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
The United States of America. And the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My daughter's learning that pledge. She would say, "You may be seated at the end of it." That's what they said in the announcement. All right, we'll have the approval of minutes. Did everyone get a chance to review the minutes that were shared with us by email?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, that was vice chair. Do we have a second on the minutes? Second. Thank you. All right, so now we'll move into, oh wait, we have new members? Okay, so we have new members, old members, returning members. Would like to introduce Sean Fee, who was previously on the board. Can you tell us about yourself?
Yes, I'm born and raised in Fort Lauderdale. I was on the board in Holiday Park for years for baseball and softball. On the board for Fort Lauderdale Rush, Fort Lauderdale Select, travel soccer program. I have two kids. Both are out of the house and off the payroll. That's a good thing. Yeah. One lives in California, one lives in New York. So, roll call.
Oh, I'm
Thanks.
sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. I'm sorry, Sean. This
Sorry.
is. Okay, so we need to do a roll call for the minute.
Oh, what a roll call for minute.
I was told we had to do a roll call for the minute or no?
I know, just all in favor.
Oh, all in favor, okay. All in favor of the minutes? Yes, we did have the motions. All in favor of the minutes, say aye or.
Aye. Any opposed? None opposed.
Thank
Noted.
you. I'm sorry, Sean.
That's all right.
Are you done? All right.
Yeah, I pretty much.
Well, good, welcome.
Appreciate it.
And then Anna, can you
Hi.
welcome to the board?
Anna Bretsinas, and I've only lived in Fort Lauderdale for 6 years, but I'm from Chicago and I lived in New York. And I was a teacher for many years, for 12 years, for the New York City Department of Ed and Chicago Public Schools. I worked in the Park District for about 12 years as well, in Chicago, and just wanted to really be part of this team.
Good, welcome. All right, so I think we'll go on with our first item, Parks Bond update from Sid Rogers.
Here, all on camera. Good evening, everyone. For those who are new, my name is Ben Rogers. I'm an acting assistant city manager, and the Parks and Recreation Department is one that I support. I came to the board the last two meetings to talk about various things. At the last meeting, we talked a little bit about the Parks Bond project. And the board made a request that we come to a general overview of what the Parks Bond is, and then also focus on some of the joint use school parks that we're working on as part of that program. So rather than me do the presentation, I invited Alex Torres to join us. Alex is overseeing the Parks Bond program in totality. And so he can tell you every nook and cranny of what's going on. He's got a presentation that he prepared to walk through. We can go through this. And then at the end, we can take questions per the chair's direction. Alex?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So for today to present you some of the information on the Parks Bond, especially on the school board, school joint use programs. So we have handed to you slides, 15 slides, 6 slides. You can see the status of the schools, but want to go over a little bit behind where we started, how we got to the point we are. So, so the program started basically with the concept of, hey, we need to create a master plan. The city, across the whole parks, over 100 parks, and the master plan was developed, completed in September 2016. So then 3 years after that, a whole bond was approved, September and March 12th, 2019, $200 million that included a whole master plan and some added that were some additional things that were added to the master plan program. So a year after that, the first bond installment of $80 million was approved in January 2000 this year. And with that, we were able to start working with a consultant, which is AECOM, which is a program manager for the whole program. This consultant was approved in 2020, May 5th, 2020. And then we started with the PIO that reached out to the communities to basically, hey, we're here, we're going to start implementing the whole bond. And the outreach, we're going to be basically implementing what we got from the master plan in 2016. By the way, that was the same firm that did the master plan 4 years back. So with that PIO, we started developing the first phase of projects. So basically it was divided in multiple phases. Phase 1 was approved with 60 projects, and then phase 2. So the signature projects, 1 per district, which we have Lockhart, Holiday, Park, which I know you have heard a lot. So we have Carter, sorry. So it's 1 per district. So all of them are in the works right now in different phases, either in design or initial phases of construction. And then the phase 1 parks, which got approved a couple months after that, 60 parks. Then phase 2 parks approval with 39 projects. Among those 39 projects, 4 of them were school projects. Those 4 projects were Roseanne, Florinda, Lauderdale Manors, and Walker. Those are the 4 schools that were added there. Then, because schools wanted to be, having more participation with the bond program, then a phase 2A was created and approved on May. That included 11 schools. So for a total of 15 schools, actually 16 schools, but then 1 was removed from the whole, schedule. So when these 16 projects school were brought to the program, they did not have all the funding needed to be able to complete what they want to do. So then in September of that year, a budget amendment was approved by the commission for 6 schools. So Norfolk, Strahan, Stephen Foster, Westwood, Rock Island, and Dillard's were 6 schools that were given more money. District 4 basically gave a lot of money from the acquisition, so these schools could be more funded. And Wade Dandy, Doubly Dandy was a school that was removed for the school. So from 60 schools, now we have 15 schools. So where are we today with the 15 schools? So basically, you can see that the details in handouts, but as a summary, 1 has been fully completed, which is the Dillard High School that was completed. Parks in permitting or construction is a 0, but in reality, Sunrise Middle School is already in permitting. I didn't put it there because it's already included in the bid purchase. So we have 2 right now. Schools are in bid or purchasing, as we said. Sunrise Middle School. We have 2 projects in design and 10 in planning. From those 10 in planning, 5 of those are on the school board's court, waiting for them to decide what's going to be finally happening in the schools. The scope has changed a lot. So basically, we're still waiting for them to come up with the updated scope. The other 5 schools are pending to be included on this summer's and fall's scope to be worked, most of them through quicker, faster procurement methods that we are now implementing this year. So, and parks with partially completed phases, which is basically parks that we started doing the whole lighting or the whole courts renovations. We're 6 out of those 15. So 40% of the parks have already completed some phases of the project. So most of the schools present a big challenge because they have limited budget, and The issue is that they want more that can be achieved. So we are coming with creative ways to do the project. For example, Summers Middle School, which is one that have 1.5 mil in budget, we are doing a lot of playing and we're changing it from doing just a single bit to be able to get everything which we think is going to come way higher than the budget. We're splitting in very micro projects. We have 5 micro projects to be able to achieve the scope that we want to do under the point that we have available. So those are the kind of challenges that we are facing right now, which is good because we're moving ahead. But sometimes basically it's not as quick as we would like to have. So this is the overview summary of the school parks. I'm open to answer if you have any questions related to all the projects and in the bond for the city. So again, the handouts have a very detailed information of each one of the school parks. If the phase, what is included, where are we right now, what is being completed, what is the next step, when it's supposed to be completed, everything is there. And we're gonna be updating this information every month. Also, the website will be showing that information as well. So, please.
Yes. Thank you. Alex, thank you for this presentation. So I also know there was a public meeting yesterday for the bond update in person at 6 p.m. I was not able to attend. I'm not sure if there was the same presentation given to the residents or.
I think that was a Floyd Hall.
No, yeah, so you,
That was today.
It's right
Today.
It's right now.
Yeah, it's today.
so no,
Yes.
there's 2 different things. So as part of the grant process that we have, which will be coming before you all tonight, that was one of the things that had to be listed for us to proceed with adding it as a grant.
Okay.
And it was specifically just for the trails.
But yesterday at 6 p.m.
I was talking about the meeting for tonight.
No, but that's what led to the confusion.
There was a
There's
public-
room tonight at Floyd Hall about the overall bond. But
Okay.
then as part of the grant, there was a
Public outreach.
public, you're correct.
Well, I was just wondering if there was any concerns or more demands, from the public, but we can discuss that. I don't know if you have an update on this, but Alex, your first slide show us the money lineup. There was an approval for $200 million in 2019, and you said that the first withdrawal was 80 million.
Correct.
So I'm assuming we are withdrawing the phases as we
Yes.
tackling those projects. So I'm assuming 120 is somewhere down the line planned to withdraw.
I stopped with the schools, but after schools were approved, then we got in 2023 a 60 mil already disbursed. So we have 140 already disbursed.
Okay, so the next withdrawal was 60 million.
Yeah, that was 2023. That was the summer, spring 2023. And now we are ready to soon work with the last disbursement once we are moving forward, spending more money.
So that would be the 60 million as well, the
Yes.
last withdrawal? Okay, that's third.
Third withdrawal, yes.
Okay.
Correct.
And so for that 80 million, your first withdrawal that happened in 2020, the timeline is 3 years, roughly speaking, to spend the money. And what I'm saying, spend, like you guys actually need to complete those projects and pay the invoices. So that was accomplished already in 2025. So
For 2025, we are almost 50 mil already spent.
okay,
Not the whole 80 nor the
so you
140,
spent 50 out of this 80.
approximately 50, yes. That's an average, yes. So there's a lot is gonna come soon because there's a lot of big projects that have been in the works and now they're gonna be out for bid. And a lot of more money is gonna start moving, those
Faster.
projects, yes.
Okay, well, that's one of the important issues. Like I know it's hard to spend money in a public
Yes.
government. Obviously, you have a bids process, you have a design, and
Correct.
all this procurement takes time. But the time frame is very important for the borrowers because I understand it's a bond compliance, and you guys need to spend it. Otherwise, there's a tax exempt jeopardy and other complications for the city. So I just want to make sure that we actually spending this money because not otherwise we
Ah,
don't need it. So
Now we're going to the commission next month, March, to award the construction for Bass Park, that's almost 7 million there. And then we're gonna go now in 2 weeks for the Holiday Park second phase, which is gonna be another $8 or $9 million. They're gonna be for construction. So there's gonna be a lot of more works. We're receiving next month the package for Lockhart Park, which is a big one as well. So there's a lot of money that's gonna be being on a faster.
Okay, good.
Yeah, Mill Spawn as well, correct? Also be
Yes, but we're still talking about the first pool, which is 80 million, and you guys already have a 2023. You said you withdraw the second batch, which is the 60 million. So we gotta, as we withdraw it, you're gonna be spending this money as well. So I just want, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Marta. Rochelle? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so I have two questions. So,
Any-
for Sunrise Middle School,
Yes.
I was just, because I know that that's one of your pet projects, but so, and I see a pool chiller. Does that mean that the pool's gonna be operational, like, for, like, is it gonna be actually operational, like,
It'll be open to the public.
it's like open to the public, but like for hour wise, is it gonna be like a lot
That
of?
was a request from the school. So for the programming, also gonna be open to, but I don't control which hours, when. I don't, but that was a specific request from the school board, so we included that at the end. And that's something that we can buy separately, so we can buy and install it separately.
And then just as a general question, what are gonna be the hours for these parks? Are they like only open after schools and weekends?
No, school,
And in the summer when school is out.
Holidays and weekends.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
I just wanna, go back for a little bit of clarification on the timeline of the master plan.
Yeah.
So, the original master plan, 2016, obviously, we're almost 10 years ago. The joint use program was not initially part of that. That came in
exactly,
later on,
yes,
what, 2019 or something like that?
Thereabout.
So there was, I think initially just a few schools that were involved, and this board had gone through the ringer to try and spread out a very small amount that was, considered on percentage wise of the $200 million bond. I think what was it, 14 million, 16 million. So only 16, say $15 million of that was allocated to help turn schools into public green space parks. And granted that came later on down the line, the original master plan in 2016. There were certain schools like Sunrise, like that was a good example because they needed certain things like a pool chiller, and this was also going to help the community as that particular pool had been open to the public, but it wasn't really maintained. So the city stepping up to put in funding for county school was a big deal. And there was a number of schools that had, I guess you can call a wish list of all the things that were like important to the schools. And I think at least our community piggybacked, like, what did the school need? And then what would also benefit the community so we can use it as a park. I think the problem that we're running into is that all the budgeting that was done, I mean, I don't know if this was through ACOM or through the city for the funding for all those schools after we incorporated a lot more schools that were originally planned for. It just seemed to kind of, I don't want to tell you this whole stalled out phase. Maybe it was something to do with COVID or whatever, but I know that we're a lot further on down the road now. And the problems that we're running into is that the original budget is not covering a lot of the items that were promised. So I see this because I have, like mentioned, like my pet project that we've been involved with in the front, and I'm really glad to see that some of these projects are already, completed or started. But my concern for this board is that it seems like we're going to start losing amenities here if we don't, get these contracts going. I mean, right now we're still in the bidding process, correct?
So there's a lot in that what you kind of talked about. So you're right. When the bond referendum in 2019, we had these grandiose ideas of 200 million to get us a lot. And now you fast forward after COVID, post-COVID, the cost of employees to actually do that work, the cost of materials and equipment really hit us like a ton of bricks. And this impacts all the projects. Now, that all being said, we are looking at avenues to kind of bridge the gap on a lot of those. And we've actually been successful with using commissioners' discretionary fund and interest some of our projects to help bridge that gap. And Ben has some other ideas of how we're going to be able to kind of still get some of those things, but that's a concern across the board for all the projects.
I guess just like in wrapping up the whole enchilada here, like, is there anything this board can do to help facilitate the city commission to get going with this, right? Or is this already in motion? ACOM already has people putting in bids, permitting, and all that. At least for some of the schools, that's what my understanding was. Like, is there anything else that we could do to help facilitate?
So
So Alex, I think one thing that's important is that as we progress through the bond, right, we identified that exactly right. Inflationary impacts are going to shrink budgets. So we made some decisions. One of them was to remove AECOM from a lot of projects where there's smaller scope because their project fees were eating up a lot of the budget. So Alex's team is working on that. We are in the process right now of onboarding another project manager because we know time is money at this point. So we've got the resources from the commission to add that staff person. So that person, I think, starts next week.
Ours.
Ours, yeah. So we'll have another project manager to try to again navigate through this and push some of these projects forward. But you hit it right on the nail right on the head. It's not just school projects; it's all of our projects. And one of the things that we're working on now, and we've been kind of focusing on for the last couple of months, is how we expedite things. Right. So we're using, I'll say, non-traditional procurement methods of finding different types of solicitations that we can go. Finding contracts that are already in place that we can piggyback onto, and that just cuts down our procurement cycle timelines and expedites things. So, 100% agree.
Moving out of the way for that type of.
Yeah, we've got a. Yep, and that's been.
There's still for the ones that require design and permitting,
Sure, I know that
because the school board is the one that produces permits. But for procurement, we're just doing ourselves, and for some others, we're doing without themselves.
Okay.
And this month was the first time that we gave the city commission a memo that outlined the status of all the Parks Bond projects that are currently underway. And if I can make a recommendation to staff to make sure we forward that memo each month to the board as well. But it has every part that's currently underway. I think we have 44 that are underway right now. It has it by commission district and kind of the timeline, what we're waiting on, or what's the factor, and what our estimated timelines are. So that went out as a response to the commission's request for us to be more transparent, more proactive in our approach to get these projects done.
And just out of curiosity, I remember there was talk a while back about possibly having like one contractor that just is doing joint use parks of schools or something like that. Is that? It doesn't sound like that was the case. It sounds like now we're kind of like piecemealing it out. Like each school is going to get like whatever we can get done, or is it going to be like one comprehensive project? Say Sunrise Middle School, there's a lot from the pool to the turf fields.
Each one,
You know,
has specific wish lists and desires, and from there we're working to see what can be accomplished with the available budget, and to do as much as possible. Sunrise is a specific example. So there are 5 things that we broke down, and we want to do as much as possible. We are like this close to meet 90% of those wish lists. So
To answer your question, I think it's going to be a jack of all, right? We're going to look at the scope for each project and figure out, is that one contractor who has a bunch of subs? Or is it, hey, we've got a contract for lighting, we've got a contract for concrete, we've got a contract for landscaping. Let's bring all those contractors in.
my concern would be for accountability, because if you start spreading it too thin where you don't have, you have a million different contractors and everybody doing their own thing, that could turn up to a mess too. But I'd like to see definitely some progress.
Yeah, it's a balancing act of moving as fast as possible, but also making sure we have control of the program. So
Nothing's hindering that.
no, I mean, I think we're at you know, obviously we were behind, right? And I think we're at a good point now. We've kind of rebalanced in the last 2 months. We have this new resource coming on. We've had some really productive conversations with our legal team to understand their position on some of the things, and our procurement team on what opportunities may exist. And so we're overturning the rocks right now, and it's just a matter of time to get that kind of cycle workflow full speed.
The chair recognizes Marta. Do you still have a question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So you kind of mentioned only about the schools here and 16 or 15, you know, now. So what portion of this 8 million, the first so it's allocated like you know, proportionally towards schools and the remaining funds towards, you know, city parks?
So how much money?
Correct.
Oh,
From the pool, like,
For the
you know,
8 million.
percentage, is it like, you know, the schools are only 10% or the rest would be going to the city parks, or it's 25%? I just,
I'll give
I'm
you,
just curious, because it seems
So-
like this is unusual investment for the city to invest in the school parks.
Yeah, and so while he's looking that up, I just want to again reiterate. I think I brought it up at the last meeting. You know, there was a plan in place to have different tranches, different phases, but as time went on, there was a desire to expedite certain projects, move certain projects. So things kind of became, let's move project 3 into phase 1, let's move phase 1 to phase 2. It became kind of a mixing pot of that program. So I don't think it's as clear to say like this $80 million is just this, because
It could be
we've
from
changed.
the whole of 100 million, you know,
Right.
like.
What is the the budget of the schools versus the rest?
Yeah, like, you know, I can do my math quickly, it's gonna take me.
Get your calculator out.
I can get it down, so don't worry, Alex, I can figure it out. I'm assuming it's a fraction, I see, you
here's a
know,
fraction, small fraction, what you're gonna.
you have projects from 2.6 million to like 200,000,
Yeah.
so. I don't think it's a
You're taking
jump.
about,
And looks like the schools portions are completed for 40%, right?
$10 million basically,
10 million?
was
Okay.
awarded to the schools, or between the original awarding plus the money that was injected through the increase that was done from
Okay,
support,
that's-
10 million,
Yes,
5% basically.
yes.
I'm sorry. I'm not sure if Marta's done. Are you done,
Well,
Marta?
that's 10 million of the 200.
Yeah, 5% basically of the,
Okay, the chair recognizes Anna.
Is there an overall budget that's shared with the board so we can see like where the money's allocated, just like to clear up questions like
Yes.
that, you know?
so
So how often is it shared?
So as part of the bond, there's a resolution that's passed, and it has every single park and how much dollars associated with it,
Okay.
with high level line items. So like playground, landscaping, lighting. So that document exists. We can share that with you. And as part of that memo that we're doing on a monthly basis, it will have additional information.
Yeah, because like the fire board has that in their memo, like for their minutes every month, so that we can see every single thing and where all the money's going.
Yeah, we all have it. It's stapled like
Okay.
next to our desk, and we look at it
Okay.
probably 24 times a
That-
day.
Yeah, it
I
should be
think it's the
shared.
website
Yeah.
that's pretty solid, but I think the joint use parks thing it straddles the county line and the city funds. It's really a unique project where they're kind of working together. And I think, you know, as far as the rest of the major projects on the parks program, I know there's still a little behind schedule, Holiday Park and all that, but I don't remember if the website was very clear on the joint use park. So that's one of the reasons why I just wanted to bring it to the attention
And
here.
forget that the beaches are up too.
Yes.
Exactly, yeah.
Very important.
Yeah, I have a question about Walker Park. For their playground replacement, does it include a sunshade to your knowledge?
the regional schools, just for the playground replacement, no shades. That's what. Again, doesn't mean that she cannot be worked if needed, but it's just a regional school.
Thank you. Any other questions?
On the sign right now.
Just one last
Yes, right
question.
here.
I see something that I really like to see, like information that's modified timelines, deadlines, things like that. Is this relatively accurate? I mean, it seems like some of these might be done this year. That sound like it's right?
Some reason there's some yes. We're trying to kill that.
In general across the board, but I mean, I see they haven't even broken ground, and it's right around the corner from my house, so they haven't broken ground yet, so it seems like a lot of work to do.
Yes.
For enough time. That's it.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Ben. Appreciate it.
Very much for opportunity.
Thank you.
All right, Deputy Director Emily, oh my gosh, no names. Amy, Deputy Director Amy has our, everyone, Amy Jean Baptiste, Deputy Director of Parks and Recreation. I'm gonna run through my list. So first up is department update. The only thing I have on my list is upcoming events, which is on March 8th, St. Patrick's Day Festival and Parade along Las Olas, and on the main drag of Tunnel Top Plaza, and Laura Ward Park will be where all the festivities will be happening. So feel free to come out for that event, and then I'll go straight into my next item. So item number 3, if you can pull up, oh, you pulled up for me. So is Riverside Park Residents Association proposed renaming of parcel located at 501 Southwest 12th Avenue to FICA. I might have chopped that up, but so in your package, you've got a copy of our procedures of what it takes to rename a park. Essentially, the HOA comes together to name this. This is a park that they're looking to name after a leader. It was, I believe, Seminole Tribe leader. There was a historian that actually got together with the HOA to come up with this name. The HOA did approve this. So next steps is bringing it to the board for approval before we take it to the commission. The HOA was very thorough, having the asking of the historian explain the history. So I'm in favor. Can I get a motion?
Did they specifically approve the landing names also?
No, so for tonight, it's just for the park names. I know you saw the other landing names, but they didn't officially.
Awfully long name.
Yeah.
Nobody can say that.
I like that Yaka Park. I like that. That's a
Yeah.
good story.
Yeah, but for tonight, it's just for the actual park name, not the other proposals. So before discussion, do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second,
Any discussion?
and that's just for the Abiyaka Park, right?
Just for clarity, it's gonna go from Riverside Park to Abiata Park.
No, so Riverside Park is just below that, so that red outline on the left there, that's the parcel that we acquired through
Yep.
the bond.
Yep.
So that was never,
Oh.
yeah, so we acquired that through the bond. So that's what we're naming. That's Riverside right there. So it has no name currently. We
It's an
just purchased the land
awesome piece of land there, and it's
Yeah.
just been sitting.
for years.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good.
Okay.
So
Pretty cool. You can imagine the skies like pulling up there.
The Seminole at my house. So for that.
can we call for a vote?
That is
Well,
Seminole, Max is white.
sorry. Motion for vote.
Yes, thank you. We'll call for a vote.
Yes.
Coatsy? Your vote? Yes.
Yes.
Just confirming. Thank you. Mr. Colazzo,
I vote yes.
Mr. Klee,
Yes.
Mr. Goff,
Yes.
Ms. Keno? Yes. Ms. Rexo? Yes. Mr. Solomon Schoonover?
Yes.
Motion, very good. Ms. Tarko? Ms. Fratsinas?
Yes.
And Chair Oglesby.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you. So I'll go right down the line to a discussion for, so I know there's some confusion earlier. So tonight there is a Floyd Hall Parks Bond meeting. The HOA did ask for this meeting just to talk about specific amenities that they want at Floyd Hall / the Morton Center. And on top of that, we were looking for public outreach as it relates to the grant that we're seeking. So the Florida Department of Environmental Protection has a grant that we're looking to go after just to do some recreational trails at Floyd Hall. So we have some allocations as part of the bond, but we were looking to offset some of that cost through there. So as part of the grant, the board needs to be made aware. So I'm making you aware. Any questions in regards to How much of the trail cost? I see we're requesting 450,000 of the grant, but how much is it cost?
So our match is about 115, I believe, 115 that we'll be matching to that.
And the whole overall project is 6 million?
Oh, the overall project is about it's 6 million, but that trail is part of that.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yes, Dr. Fair?
The grant, is that federal grant or state grant?
I see.
Through the federal government. It's through federal highways through DEP. Yes.
I just had a question that was pretty contentious years ago. Federal Little League and the contract they signed 50 years ago about trying to get anything done in the park. What is the status of that? I see it's still contentious. That's why I wanted to see the other meeting tonight.
So, you're right, there was a 50-year lease of the facility and,
Which part?
Well,
Well,
it's-
you can't do anything to the park because they control everything.
right,
For
and I
nothing.
believe we reached out and we were able to kind of move forward with it because they weren't in,
Compliance.
there was like a lot of things, I don't wanna confuse the football portion of it
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
but there's,
We moved because of it, the football teams at the time, but I was just wondering, because they're having a meeting tonight, I just know there's scuttlebutt in
Oh,
the
yeah.
community that they're holding fast to, they wanna keep those stadiums and the names and things of that
They
nature,
do, they're
which
very-
I understand, but it needs to progress as well, 'cause it's a great piece of property.
Yep.
So there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, yeah. And hopefully we'll get some clear direction tonight.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for Deputy Director? All right, can we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Can we have a motion? Don't we get a motion?
No, just to make you aware.
Oh, awareness, sorry. Thank you, Solomon. I appreciate you.
Okay. On to my next item number 5. So Starlight Musicals, for all who don't know, is a 10-week concert series that we host at Holiday Park. So we do have a title sponsor that's been our title sponsor for decades, which is Bank of America, and they have come back to grant us $20,000 for this next concert series. So I would prefer a motion approval for this. As you guys know, we're bringing sponsorships to your for your awareness, but also as part just for transparency purposes.
I'll
Some
move
of
to
our
approve the, thank
I think the-
Don't you have to say the total amount, Vice Chair?
Pardon me?
Does he have to say the total amount at all?
yeah, you can say that it's 20,000.
Yeah, I vote to approve the Bank of America donation, $20,000.
I'm sorry, how much? I can't hear. 20,000?
Can we have a second?
Oh, thank you. So,
We have a discussion.
yes.
Any more discussion? Can we call for the vote?
Sure, just 1 second. Okay. Ms. Coetzee,
Yes.
Mr. Colazzo,
Yes.
Mr. Fee,
Yes.
Mr. Goff,
Yes.
Ms. Keno. Yes. Ms. Rexo, yes. Mr. Schoonover.
Yep.
Ms. Tarko. Ms. Brett Siemens.
Yes.
And Chair Oglesby,
Yes.
also unanimous.
Thank you, Amy. All right, so now we have our council, Patricia.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Patricia St. Bill Joseph, Assistant City Attorney. Okay, so, well, all board members may recall last year, we presented the designated children play areas, and the board, I believe, voted unanimously to push it forward for commission's consideration and final approval. However, our office was asked to tweak the proposed resolution. So instead of the title being designated children play areas, it's now going to be called exclusive areas, and definition of adult remains the same. Children
remain the same. It's a person 12 years of age or younger. Except the old section titled play areas, we redefined those and created playground or play areas. And I define exactly what is considered to be exclusive children's play areas. I believe you all have been provided with a copy. If you haven't, please raise your hands. So everyone has it. And then, so we're still gonna have signage to put the public on notice where those designated exclusive areas are located in the parks. The penalty will remain the same. And basically, as I indicated last time, there are many cities in Florida and in other states that are now adopting this type of ordinance, basically to protect kids. And most of the cities are not reporting any issues with either enforcement or adjudication. So even our own police force, they say it's just a matter of warning the person, hey, you are in designated children play area or exclusive area for children who should be in that area. So however, I did recommend to Carl that this ordinance be circulated among the HOAs or other interested parties in the community before final consideration. After, of course, if the board move forward with this, to present it to the HOAs for comments. But if you all have any questions regarding the verbiage that's presented to you today.
One question.
Yes.
So, it's about the adults who are in the play area that have to be accompanied by a young child.
So the idea is children playgrounds, they're supposed to be for use of kids, right? So if there is an adult there who is not accompanied by a child, then yes, will be asked.
What about the opposite? Can children just be there by themselves with no adult supervision?
Well, I would hope not, but that's up to the parent or the guardian. Right, we're not gonna
There's
regulate,
like a 14-year-old kid or a 12-year-old kid playing.
right,
I would like.
So no children are not allowed to be there without supervision, you're saying?
I don't know, basically an adult is identified as anyone who's 18 years old.
Yeah, what she's saying is she would want it to be that even someone who's not an adult not be permitted unless they had parental supervision.
No, well,
Is what she's proposing.
well, no, this ordinance doesn't address that. The intent of this ordinance is to protect children from predators, correct? Those who are sitting there at the playground just watching children and trying to basically hurt them.
Isn't that the truth does not accompany adults?
The chair
that?
recognizes Bill.
The truth there's no accompanying adults for these predators watching small children play there.
I'm sorry, Rachel,
Yeah.
we can't hear what you're saying. Apologies. Yes. No, can you repeat your question?
No, what she said was that wouldn't it be wouldn't it also be true that if a kid was there without parental supervision or adult supervision, they could be a target for a predator?
Right, but again, we're not addressing that part and whether the guardian or the parent is gonna allow their kids to run loose. I guess that's a different matter. Right, the chair recognizes Zilla.
I mean, I have my own opinions. I mean, what happens if people say it, but most of the people sexually assaulted, are kids? Are they by like their parents or like the people that are doing to each other? It's not gonna be somebody that's
Could
Right.
you speak louder? Yeah, sorry, I can't hear you.
But you wanna repeat your question?
Yeah, well, no, I guess my main question is like, to be honest, and I know that we discussed this the last time, is like I didn't realize that it went towards like even the benches, outside Bayview, and some and that's where like the open benches are. You know, is that still gonna be in effect? And then, like, if that's the case, can we have like, I see the kids on the fitness center there in Baby Park. And then if that's the case, then can we have like a non-kids area as well?
So the fitness center wouldn't be an exclusive or designated childcare. It's just the playgrounds and and splash pads.
Yeah, but then like somebody goes, well, kids play in the fitness center and I only see them playing there.
We're gonna have, that's why, not to interrupt you, but that's why we're gonna have the area posted. To have it with signs, so that the public, the general public is on notice. This playground, this area is an exclusive area for children's play and adults will, only allowed if you're accompanied with a child.
Yeah, but I just see it kind of escalating out, right? Then we'll be like in a year from now, then we'll be like, well, the kids only play on the baseball fields, or the kids only play here or there. You know, is that gonna happen? This.
What, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing.
Like, so we do this for the children's playground right now, but most of the children also play on the baseball fields. You know, is that gonna become a children's play area as well? Is this gonna be a tip of the iceberg situation?
So I would venture to say no, because when we have programming out there on baseball fields, you're gonna have parents that are there for their kids. You may just have parents that are just watching the games being played. So I don't know how you would legislate between the two when you're actively engaged in that activity. And the other point I want to mention is there was a question if you had a child who was 12 or 14 years old engaged in a playground who may not be accompanied by parents. Also notice like some of our parks are smack dab in the middle of neighborhoods. Baby was a perfect example. Like there's houses there, and so you may have parent may let the child go to the park if they live right next door.
All the time.
Imperial Point is the same way. Our park that we have there, it's like smack dab right in the middle of the neighborhood. So there's maybe opportunities where a younger child, 12, 14 years old, may be able to go to the park by themselves, but it's because they live right in that vicinity and the parents can allow.
Yes.
And along the lines of a warning system or what you're doing to be able to try to control this within our playgrounds, since we know this is a problem that spills over into the parks, being that we're in the middle of.
I'm sorry, do you mind speaking up? It's hard for the reporter.
Sorry.
Recorders, we can't hear
I'm
you.
sorry. So what I wanted to know was when it comes to an individual that has been violated the area or coming in and they are being warned, what kind of system is in place as far as that particular individual more than once on a warning or something going to the next step to be able to remove them from that area?
Well, the way this is intended to work is, for example, let's say I go to a designated or an exclusive children's play area. I'm not accompanied by a minor or with a child. Either the park ranger will approach me and say, "Hey, ma'am, do you have a child with you?" I'll say no. They say, "Oh, here's the signs, whatever." So a reasonable person will say, "Oh, even if I didn't know," I'll say, "Oh, I didn't know. Okay, it's a huge park. I can go somewhere else." So either I leave or I stay. I refuse to leave. If I refuse to leave, I assume the park ranger will contact the police. So the police will come and give me another warning. And if I refuse to leave, then yes, they may issue an arrest warrant or take me into custody. And if I become a repeat offender, then yes, it goes through the process.
The reason I mention it is because I know of being involved with some of the parks over the years as far as inside with, as an athletic director and having kids going in the park and renting. And I have spoke with some of the people within parks. They seem not only as, say, an individual, could just be somebody going by as a predator, but they seem to have a problem within the park rangers and the people there on being able to actually remove, and it goes beyond that because we do have a lot of homeless situations. We have a lot of people that are coming and going through our parks because we are not fenced from road to road. So that's why I'm asking, because I know that they have voiced their opinions that they feel that they are not granted enough if it's a repeat or it's a constant situation to be able to remove that situation. One, because they can go to another part of the park.
Well, again, this is only, just so we're clear, this is only for the playgrounds, right? So if that person leaves that exclusive area, technically they're in compliance. Technically. Now, if that person commits a different violation, and I guess either the park ranger or the police has to issue a trespass warning or some kind of other enforcement mechanism.
They have a right to do that if it is a repeat offender going into the same area of the playground and they see it happening.
Well, yes, that's what this is addressed. This is regulating specifically the children's playground area. And Parks is supposed to put sufficient signage so that from any angle, a person will be able to see that this is an exclusive area for children to play. Not for anyone to just hang out and, any adult, I should say. Yes. The chair recognizes Marta and then Sean.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, obviously we discussed this ordinance proposed language last year.
Yes.
And I wonder what happened, why I was under the impression that it's gonna be introduced to the commissioners, it's gonna be 2 readings and that would be approved. So I wonder what happened, why we have again on our tables and now there was many comments, maybe somebody could.
I do not know the specifics,
Okay.
but when you all as an advisory board recommend
Approval. There was.
to be presented to the commission for consideration and final action, city attorney will then present it to individual commissioners, and depending on comments, we may have to tweak it and bring it back to you. I don't know the specifics, but sometimes that happens.
Okay, thank you.
Chair recognizes Sean.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm reading this correctly, but I keep hearing playgrounds, but it said in here, including by way of example, not limitation, soccer fields, baseball diamonds, football fields. So they are,
Well, they're not technically not included, though they could be designated if the department so chose to, but I agree with you, I don't think those should be included in that definition. Because if the intention is to not cover, if the intention is to just cover, playgrounds, I know we're trying to find a definition that like gives department enough wiggle room to like really just take care of the places that are obvious. I don't think a soccer field or a football field is gonna be included in that, nor should it. You know what I mean? Because there's no football field, I think, that should be an exclusive children's zone.
Well, I don't know if the old members recall, the last definition was specifically tailored towards playgrounds and kind of more bit broader than this, but I'm willing to take recommendations on verbiage or what you would like to remove, because
I was just confused because I just kept hearing playground, so I was just wondering, is this a way to keep like pickup games off the soccer?
yeah,
field? 50 adults show up and
right.
you have that issue for
My
years.
understanding is that well, you can answer, because our understanding was that certain places in the parks near baseball fields or other fields, they do have playgrounds. So, I mean, Carl, you can answer to that.
Yeah, and Pat can kind of correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the intention was written as kind of vague to allow for some discretion with our park rangers and police to do that enforcement. Because when you're on a park, there's countless areas that could be determined a play area, but I think the idea is that if a park ranger is present and you see a group of kids actively engaging in just basketball, it's just kids, and you have an adult that just kind of has the appearance, they can be able to, do some questions and things of that nature to start.
Specifically, what I'm saying is like Hardy Park downtown, you have the playground right there, you have the field, the multi-purpose field, and you have adults nonstop, right? Like, and you try to kick them out so the kids can play their games or whatever, the leagues that are there. So I'm wondering if that gives you leeway to.
Well,
have.
Yes and no. the exclusive children's play area, for example, if, as you indicated, if it's near or next to a baseball field or some other field, then we have to put sufficient signage near that children's play area that's abutting the baseball field or any field, so that those adults know, yes, you can go to the baseball field or the basketball court or whatever, but that children's play area, it's exclusive to those who have kids or are accompanied by with.
And it has to be identified by the sign.
Well,
There's the
yes, we have to have,
That's
posted, yes, play area.
Anna, do you have a question? I was just gonna echo what Carl said. I think it's good that like if we read it literally, but it just gives the police officer or the park ranger, like, hey, this doesn't seem
Yes.
right.
Yes.
Look at the sign, you're not allowed to be here. They're not gonna just pick on an adult that's playing basketball or something
Right.
like that. It's to protect the children from the
And
playground.
the officers
And
or
that
the
way-
rangers
yeah.
will use
They're not gonna-
common sense and
Exactly.
man standard.
That way, like those parks where they're across the street and these children are by themselves, they can play safely, and if somebody wants to report somebody, they can.
Yes, I just have a, like, I'm just looking at, if you put the signs up and if they're only in the playground, then that's fine. But if you put it up near like the baseball fields, then people are gonna think that they're not allowed in there, adults, right? So, okay, so I would be,
I'm picturing it like when he said Hardy Park, there's that open field and then there's the playground, so it would face toward the play area, which who knows, like, oh, you can't go forward from this point. And you see the swings and you see the tournament.
Playground.
but it does say baseball diamonds, football fields. It's not
It also expressly says exclusive children's play area, and it's differentiated from a playground or play area. So I think that covers, both roles.
I hear your concern. I think it was addressed that that having that additional language is to give more flexibility for the rangers and the police officers.
And that sign would probably
I think that makes
Yeah,
sense.
that would be the exclusive. Yeah.
area. I would guess.
Right, and notice that the exclusive, okay, so there's the definition of, but the exclusive children's play area will be identified. The boundaries will be identified by signs.
Yeah.
So that's why we have the sample signage for you to see. I'm confident adults not.
Can I
gonna
make
like-
a motion
can't
to
be
approve?
I just have one question. How many offenders are there last year?
Well, I can't remember the name of the park, but this came up by the park.
Everybody?
At Coral Ridge by the. I don't know which park, but our city prosecutors, they don't have issue with this at all. They're confident we can handle this. City of Miami Beach has had, I think, 2 that went to court. And their ordinance has been in place, I think, for the past 10 years. So, and they told me, the attorney told me that basically their officers, they're trained, hey, sir, ma'am, they'll show them the sign and the person is usually, oh, okay, I didn't know that, all right. Those who become a problem are the ones with ill intentions.
Right, but I'm just saying that to go through all this and then say like, and I hate to say it, but I just see this as the tip of the iceberg of then the baseball fields and then the soccer fields and then everything else, and then like I hate to say it, but then I can't use.
I
the
understand,
you
but then
know?
you also have to balance it with people with minor children, with a strange person, male or female, sitting by the swings and they don't have a kid with them and they just watching these children and no one knows what the intent is.
Yeah,
So
a
there
lot
are
of the sexually abused children are abused by.
I understand. But there are those that are also, kidnapped and missing. So missing.
Can I make a motion to approve?
Yes, please, Solomon.
Motion to approve.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, can we please have a roll call?
So that it's clear,
Motion to approve.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry,
As
Salome, can you-
presented, or I know that you all were
As presented.
discussing, okay.
Thank you for clarification.
Uh,
Ms. Coatsey,
yes.
Mr. Colazo,
Yes.
Mr. Fee,
Yes.
Mr. Goff.
Yeah.
Ms. Keno,
Yes.
Ms. Rexo,
Yes.
Mr. Schoonover.
Yes.
Ms. Tarko. Ms. Fratsinas.
Yes.
And Chair Oglesby.
Yes.
Unanimous.
Okay. It's not on the agenda, but new business, does anybody have any new business to bring forward? No, great, then you can go home. Now, I do want to give opportunity to Salome, you did miss, we have two new members, Sean and Anna.
Hey, nice to meet you. Yeah, hey.
So this meeting's adjourned.
All right.
You wanna- Oh, I forgot about,